G'day, punters, and welcome to another edition of the Mailbag Preview Show. A little bit different today, different looking panel. No Lindsay, couldn't make it. We're unsure why.
Sound check for the Beatles tribute band, I think he said.
Perfect. It's a bit early in the morning for a sound check for Lindsay anyway. So just Shane and myself today steering you through and a little bit different looking episode as well. But welcome, Shane. How's your week been?
Thanks, mate. Wet in the Sunshine State. They transferred the races on Wednesday to the Poly track, and somehow we won for the service, which is it's a small win, but it's a moral victory as much as anything when you win on the Poly track on a meeting that's been transferred. We've got today, as we're recording Thursday, Warwick's called off today. Rockhampton Cup Carnival's Friday, Saturday this week, and it's just pouring rain and heavy 10. Doobman's a heavy 10. Sort of anticipating we'll get some called off meetings in the next 24 hours. The Sunny Coast meeting on Sunday off the turf and onto the Poly. It's just ridiculous. It's just ridiculously wet and cold and terrible. We might as well live in Antarctica up here at the minute. It's like -2 the other day in Toowoomba.
Down here, it's been
anyway. I
fresh.
just feel better now. I've had a whinge about that. Thanks. Yeah, it'd be great to join you anyway, mate.
And you survived the trip to the dentist this week?
No. You swear I've got a meth mouth. The issues I've had this calendar year with a dentist. I cracked a tooth last week, and sort of playing up a little bit. And I went to the dentist. He's like, "Yeah, what we'll do is we'll just drill the shit out of it until we find the bottom of the crack, and then we'll just fill it and cap it for you. You'll be sweet because you want to keep that tooth, bottom tooth." Anyway, so after about 40 minutes of drilling, he's like, "There's no bottom to this crack. I'm just going to have to pull it out now."
Fun times. So we need lucky the service has been winning there. It's never cheap. Visit to the dentist.
Nah, it's like I kept it pretty simple too. I got the gas though, just because I got a bit of anxiety about getting a tooth pulled out. And I think it cost me a monkey. So you just drop 500
and you still got the tooth pulled out anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, happy days.
Things are looking up though, mate. Things are looking up.
Yes, they are. As I mentioned from the top, a little bit different today. We're obviously not going to preview anything in Queensland. You just heard from Shane there. It's the big wet again up there in Queensland and New South Wales as well. So we won't have a look at anything in Queensland. There's no point having a bet early. You end up playing bloody deductions roulette. A couple of the favourites come out. You're losing 50, 60 cents. You get massive unders. So no point betting early. As I mention every week, especially with the rain around, is signing up to Shane's service. Who knows how many meetings we'll be on. Sounds like there could be a few cancelled out wide.
We'll be betting anyway. Wherever they're on, we'll bet.
Shane needs money to pay for the dentist, so we will be betting punters. You heard it here first. A little bit different look. What we'll do, we'll be on a better surface down here in Melbourne, and we've got a Group 3, the Sir John Monash. So we'll do something a little bit different, and we'll do a bit of a runner-by-runner preview and go a little bit more in-depth into the Group 3 down here at Caufield. But what we'll do, I'll start the show off with a little bit mailbag Bloodstock update. Just a quick one. We've got one running around today at Cranbourne called Showman. So he's in the market, running second up off a big run first up. So let's hopefully he can go a couple of spots better and get a winner. Shane's in the ownership, so he's praying for a bit of cash in the bank.
I've backed it too, James. Full disclosure.
And he's backed it. So there we go. We may not be able to
see it missing a hole. I'm 1/2.
We may not be able to tip you into any winners up in Queensland with the big wet, but there, you've heard it here first. A Mailbag Bloodstock runner. Shane's backed 1/2 today, Cranbourne. Race 4, I think, isn't it, Shane? Race three, Showman. Cranbourne.
Yeah.
And just on the Bloodstock theme, we've got a half brother to Umgawa, trained by Leon and Troy Corstens. So for 2.5% there, $1,302. It's a star witness by Express Central. I'll spit that one out. So Express Central is obviously the mother of Umgawa, who to date, I think 13 starts and won 360,000. So look, if we could even be half as good as that, the owners are going to have a bit of fun and get a bit of money in the bank. So as always, email Jono, Jono, at themailbag.com.au if you've got any interest there in a run-up with Leon and Troy Corstens here in Melbourne. Just an update on one that we pushed last week was one that Jack bought off the English Digital Strategic Position, formerly Yulong Defence. We were sending up there, we mentioned last week, sending that up to Tony Gollan to be trained there up in Brisbane. And I believe you've got heard it here first. Announcement, Shane, for the
a couple of things. A couple of things on these horses. Firstly, the Star Witness. I saw some pictures of that horse the other day, and I can guarantee to people watching at home that the horse is in better condition than Troy.
Yes. You see, you were talking about your rough week earlier. I think Troy's topped you.
I feel a little bit bad, sort of making light of his situation because he's basically broken his face and his thumb and his wrist and everything else. Horrible situation. But then it just goes to show, don't exercise. He was exercising. Like the only reason you should be riding a bike or running is if you're trying to get away from the cops. There's no place for exercise. Just stop it.
Which I'm sure happens a lot there up in Toowoomba.
It's cops, stewards, whatever. Look, just on this strategic position, I keep hammering this point home because it's very important and people know, like, I don't give Jack Dickens praise very often. But he's got this right, buying this horse and deciding to sending it to Queensland and Tony Gollan. I was surprised to see on the rundown that we still had 10% left. So what I'm going to do, James, is that there is now 0% left because I'm taking the last 10% of this horse. So anyone that's watching that, may have, was tossing up whether they could afford, 2.5 or 5% share or something like that, send me an email, shane@themailbag.com.au, and you can come in and let's start a syndicate. So you can have 1% if you want. We'll start a syndicate. Similar to what we did with Showman, we'll start a syndicate for the last 10%. So if you want to get a small share in a horse with the mailbag for a bit of fun and a bit of interest, this is the horse. I think there's a couple of interesting points I want to raise about this horse in particular where I think you can get to. If you go and have a look at Doomben race 6 on Saturday, it's a class 3 1200, 42 grand to the winner. So this is the type of race that strategic position will be aimed at. With Gollan. Now, he's got 2 runners in the race, Proper Rogue and Sweet 16, an ex-Yulong horse. Like, strategic position is like equally, probably slightly better form if you have a look at those runs behind in the boat and have a look at the punting form data. Like, he's right up there to be winning this sort of race. So, they both got wet track form too, and it's going to be wet. You could probably think that they'll be in the finish, those 2 horses. That's a really good example. As Tony said in the video, he's only a class 3 horse with a low rating, and he's ran second to a listed winner at Caufield. Like, he's going to be very easy to place to win his way through his grades in Queensland. So the last 10% no longer available. I'm going to take it. Get in touch, shane@themailbag.com.au. We'll start a syndicate together. You can have 1%, you can have 2%, whatever you like.
It's a great way getting into horse ownership. I mean, sometimes that 2.5%, 5%, 10% can be a bit daunting. But getting in for 1%. I think the 10% was just under 5,000. So, you're up for a monkey if you're in 1% and join there.
Buy a share in a horse or get a tooth pulled out.
Yeah.
I know which one I'd rather.
Absolutely.
Clean your teeth every day and buy a share in strategic position.
Absolutely. And I think, what you mentioned there, we can place him really well up there for that class. And, that Saturday race there is 42,000. And, if this is the first horse that you're going in, not many people get Saturday runners, let alone a Saturday runner on their first horse. So get involved, punters. As Shane said, shane@themailbag.com.au. If you want to join his syndicate there for the last 10% of strategic position.
Or even if you just want to send me an email to send me some abuse. Shane at the mailbag.com.au.
He loves that. He loves that advice, punter.
Right,
so yeah,
give me some advice at my service or whatever you like.
Absolutely.
As a bloke, how I can improve myself, whatever. Life coaching, anything.
Lovely. Well, that's it for the Mailbag Bloodstock sort of update. As I said, we've got Showman running this afternoon, so get behind it. Shane's in the ownership. Shane's backed it 1x2. Doesn't think it misses a hole. And yeah, we've got the half to Umgawa, and also if you want to jump in Shane's little syndicate. So Shane at themailbag.com.au for that, and Jono, Jono at themailbag.com.au for any other inquiries about any of the horses that we've got. All right, enough of the bloodstock, enough of the shit talking. Let's get into Saturday's race. As I mentioned off the top, a little bit different today. We're just going to do a bit more in-depth runner-by-runner preview of the Group 3 Sir John Monash Stakes at Caufield. Rails out 3 metres. Look, the weather has been good as we could have probably hoped for this week in Melbourne, up to 7 mils of rain sort of Thursday to Friday. So we're definitely not going to be running on a track like our northern states, New South Wales and Queensland. But I'll throw it over to you now, Shane.
Okay, thanks, mate. We'll start with some barriers. So I've done my best here to dissect this one. Start with some barrier positions here. As you said, rails at 3 metres. So you can see some winning strike rates here on the screen. You're looking at, obviously, we've got, 1 to 9 races. So we're looking at this middle section here, Caufield barrier versus historical run style with rail 3 to 7. So you can see the winning strike rates from inside 1 to 3. These are horses that settle forward inside 1 to 3, middle 4 to 7. So basically any lane, as good as winning strike rate as anywhere else, being on speed at Caufield with the rail 3. And you can see that winning percentages drop off as you get back end wide. If you look at the back markers, they still want to be, inside gates. So we want to be, sort of on speed, up and in, as they say. At Caufield. So it's a bit made about Caufield. Like, obviously, I don't do a lot of Melbourne form, but I listen to a lot with the other boys. And, track patterns seem to be so important, particularly at Caufield. So it's really worth taking into account. Have a look at the lanes here from the inside fence versus the rail position. So this is focusing on 400 metres to the finish. All this is puntingform.com.au data, which is why you should get it. You can have a look at their lanes too. Is very profitable, and the 11.9 winning strike rate. And then you've got lane 3 and 4 next best, lane 1. So you can see there, closer to the fence is where you want to be. And then you can compare that to all rail positions, slightly better than the all rail position. But seems to be a little bit of Caufield, doesn't it? Like it normally.
Yeah, it normally does.
But that's racing in general. I'd rather be on a good winning chance at races, in the first 4. Anyway,
Absolutely. So, I don't think that's just Caufield, isn't it?
No,
if you did some historical data everywhere, you get your chance in that first half of the field.
But there is certainly enough data there, courtesy of punting form, to tell us where the better place to be is on the day. So for track place or historical data, we'll be a step ahead there.
And we always use that punting form data to get that historical look, on a Wednesday, Thursday. But like I always say is, get that mounting yard mail. We've got the professionals, who do this day in, day out there. Jackson will be out there on Saturday. And if they're, he's going to do the form to what the data does tell us. But if there is any change, they're able to pivot on the day. And, that's why that late mail service with the text 5-6 minutes before the race is a vital piece of final information if you're having a bet on Saturday.
Absolutely. We can go have a look at some jockey data. Again, courtesy of puntingform.com.au. I love this. And we're going to talk about your favourite jockey and her statistics here.
Yeah.
Linda Meach.
I threw out a best bet for the punters last week, and, with a bit of trepidation, Linda Meach, back marker at Flemington, and got my fingers burnt. So,
yeah, and we spoke about it pre-race, didn't we? We previewed it. We spoke about the horrific statistics.
We did.
Back markers at Flemington. And then we have a look at Linda's winning strike rate, profit on turnover at Caufield. And if we broke this down again, I guarantee you this would be a lot of on-speed runners.
Yeah, absolutely. And then she's coming off a nice on-speed ride yesterday at Sandown, just classic Linda Meach. I can't think of the name of it.
Neither can I.
Yeah.
Dunster.
Anyway, you can see the statistics there. Obviously, Logan McNeil and Josh Richards sort of highlight this is all sorted in strike rate. If you look at the far right column here, Caufield runners, Logan McNeil only had the 20 rides there. So small sample size. Josh Richards, 60, reasonable sample size. But then obviously Linda's at 200 rides there.
Yeah, so
even the great man, C. Williams, when he's not doing humanitarian missions.
Where is he? Is he still over there? I haven't seen or heard from him for a while. Is he still alive over there?
13% winning strike rate at 866 rides is still a good winning strike rate, isn't it? And,
yeah.
So anyway, like Linda's obviously the standout there. So let's see if she can replicate some of that Caufield form across some other tracks for you next time.
Yeah, well, I'll be steering clear of her at Flemington on a back marker, let me tell you.
So we've got enough good data there. I think that's all important when you're starting a meeting. That's the first place I start on punting form. Let's go and have a look at the speed map. Pity that Lindsay couldn't join us so we could talk about some of these horses. I think he's backed against them and backed them in recent weeks.
He knows a lot more about them than you and I.
Yeah, I'm going to sound like a genius after I tip the trifecta in order here. So we're looking at, again, Sartorial Splendor going forward here, Oxley Road. They're the sort of two that look to be sort of most favoured, I suppose. It'll be sort of anticipated to be tempo related, but, they seem to get the right runs in the race, don't they?
No, they do. Yeah, I mean, and if you're just looking at the speed map there and have a bit of a look at Sartorial Splendor at the $17, it looks rather appealing.
We probably should have. I've probably just jumped over something. Actually, a couple of the previous winners to line.
Oh yes, we can have a look at that. A bit of historical previous winners and the sort of rating that they've run to win this race. So I think what we had the Western Australian runner, Red Can Man, won the race last year, didn't he? Here we go.
Yeah. He Red Can Man won it last year. Second up, B. Mellum on board. You can ride that boy. Malkovich ran second. I think that's one of Bjorn's, and he SP'd under. I think he SP'd $9, and it was recorded a punting form figure of negative 10.1 in winning that race last year.
So just for the punters out there, Shane, what is that figure there? What's that negative 10.1 or that negative sort of figure that you guys on this show always talk about?
Yeah, so that's below all benchmark for the race. So if we go to have a look at some previous winners before that as well, we can sort of measure that. Like the year before was Jungle Edge 2019. Now, what punting form didn't pick up about this win, James? Greys in the wet and greys on Saturdays. Is it grey? No, it's not. I thought it was a grey.
It's not a grey.
No, I was looking at the grey or similar colours.
He loves the slop more than a grey or more than that theory.
He must have grey pubes or something because he's got to have a bit of grey on him somewhere. Now, he measured a punting form figure of minus 14.1, beat Veridine and started 260 favourite on the day. So,
yep.
That's a substantially bigger figure than Red Care Man produced.
Yep.
The year before was Oak Door.
Yep.
And there's Jungle Edge again.
There's Jungle Edge bowling out in front again.
He started $31, Oak Door. Again, Brendan Mellum was on
Ben Mellum again.
Can ride that boy.
Yeah.
Soft six, track on the day, and a punting form figure of minus 12.5.
So I think what we're seeing here from the historical data is, you need that the winner of this race tends to run a big punting form number.
Absolutely. Needs to be a genuine, double figure. Sort of, there's a group 3, I suppose. So
it is a group 3.
I was about to say they have to run a group figure to win.
Yes,
what
yes.
a genius.
And so when you're doing the form for the race, you're looking for something that's run a figure around that or something with a bit of upside that you think can run that figure.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you have a look at, if we go back to the speed map on punting form, sorry, I jumped the gun there a little bit. You can see some top 4 last start on that same, if you on that punting form screen when you do the speed map, just above the speed map there, you'll see some top 4 last start benchmarks and top 4 peak benchmarks for the last 2 seasons when you're on punting form. So you've got Sartorial Splendor 11.8, Maliva 10.4, Felicia 8.9, and William Thomas negative 7.9 for they're the top 4 last start benchmark figures.
Yep.
And then you've got, last 2 years, you've got Oxley Road negative 14, ASAR 13.4, William Thomas 13.1. How romantic is a 12.8.
Yeah, nice.
So plenty of horses in that field that can run a good enough figure to win. So we need to break it down a bit further.
So we'll break it down a bit further and we'll go into a bit of a runner by runner in-depth analysis here. And I think we may as well start at the top with ASAR.
Yep, ASAR, he hasn't run better than negative 6.3 over 1,200 metres.
So is that just
sure,
you just pen that? We just pen that, like are we just saying can't win, and we don't. It's just not even in our thoughts if we're having a bet in the race.
Yeah, well, that's where I'm leaning. He has to improve his personal best at 1,200 or below by 6 lengths. So it's just a simple no for me.
Yeah,
not happening today. Throw up the stumps at a group race.
And I think that's a good way of starting with your form, isn't it? Going through and then just penning the ones that can't win and going a bit deeper into the ones that we think can win. Yeah. So we won't talk too much about ASAR then. Can't win. Number 2, William Thomas. Bill Tom.
Yeah, William Thomas. I think the map beats it straight away, doesn't it? I think, we've got all the historical data there. The three things that we can summarise out of the historical data is, settling on speed is a positive.
Yep.
And the winner is going to have to run a negative 10 or better to win.
Yep.
William Thomas is going to run around a negative 7. He's going to settle last, and he's going to have the map. We're going to have map and pattern against him.
He's one of those horses that's always unlucky, always flashing, gets caught in behind. When they win, they look good, but unfortunately, long term, they don't make you money. Horses like that.
Yeah. So I'm happily be against William Thomas here and having a look at some of the pricing that Jackson started working on, and he's basically saying it's none on his market team.
Perfect. Sartorial Splendor, we touched on a little bit earlier, but number 3, Sartorial Splendor, $17 at the market currently.
Yeah, on the quick backup, he loses Group 1 Jai, but he's going to be on speed, and obviously he repeats that sort of figure that he produced last week. And with the map, he's certainly going to be in the finish. He's a $17 chance. He gets J Mott, races on speed, and he's certainly a chance.
Which I mean, Victoria isn't your sort of backyard for jockeys, but maybe just explaining to the punter out there how much weight do you throw in obviously losing a Jai McNeil to a Jamie Mott, or especially up in Queensland, some of your jockeys. Is it? Yeah. Do you weight that a lot, the jockey?
Oh, I do in Queensland. I don't know. I couldn't sort of give an informed opinion on the Victorian stuff, but all jockeys start with a -2 in Queensland.
Yep.
And then some of them get to 0.
How many get to 0? It's a real grim. That's slim pickings up there. If all of them are on a -2.
Yeah, not many. They sort of fluctuate between like 0 and -5, depending. But a lot of that's got to do with map because, I think in Victoria, how I operate in Queensland on the jockey ones is the horse will determine where it maps, not the jockey, because the jockey's not good enough. Where in Victoria, I'd anticipate that, Jay Mott's on a front runner, so he'll go forward. Like he's not going to,
Yeah.
So look, he's $17. This horse, it's got to be a hope.
Definitely.
Top 4 chance.
Top 4 chance. And then we move into the favourite, Oxley Road. The old firm back together, Moody Nolan.
Yeah, you can see a jump out here at Pakenham for Oxley Road. Look, he's start favourite. He will start favourite. He's $3 around at the moment.
$3.10, I think. You can get it at Top Sport.
Certainly thinks he starts favourite. His recent runs, track and trip, would win if he produces that. He has a negative 10.7 in August last year in a Group 3 behind Masked Crusader. He ran a negative 14.8 in the Oakley Plate back in February behind Marabi.
Track and trip.
He's yet to miss a place at 5 goes at Caufield. He has the best form. Settles on speed. Handles all going.
So I think we've got
the clear horse to beat.
We've got the Oakley Plate here on the screen.
Yeah, this is just after Jack tried to buy Marabi.
just 500, 700,000
only offered 500 is where he went wrong. I don't think she's got a price now.
Yeah, no, I don't think she's selling.
There's no price.
Absolutely.
There's Oxley Road in the gear made famous by P. Moody, the nose roll.
And so he's run a minus 14.8 there in the Oakley Plate. So as we mentioned at the top, definitely a figure that can win this and loves the track and trip. So I think, Oxley Road's being up there on speed sounds like a pretty easy bet to have.
I think he's going to be like first 4 or 5, isn't he? Sort of.
Yeah.
Yeah. Probably in a good stalking position. And it's 1,100 and he possibly might even be 2.5 wide and coming into the race.
Those lanes that you spoke about at the top that look like, on historical data or that, with the rail out 3 look like the lanes at the place where
2,
we
3,
want to be.
4. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he's ticking all the boxes here and, he certainly looks the one.
Moving on, number 5, Ashford Street. Another one in the market at $5.50.
Yeah, this is one that's got a career peak of negative 8.8, and so he probably needs to find 3 to 4 lengths here, and he's deep into a prep. So, I don't want to go too far out of my comfort zone here because I don't do a lot of Melbourne form, but this one looks like a complete lay job.
Yeah.
In single figures.
We hitting the pink button here on Ashford Street.
Might even lay a place yet. Haven't decided, but no, can't win. It shouldn't. It's taken up too much market at $5.50.
Absolutely.
So I think it drifts and Oxley Road will firm. So that's how I've marked them too. So no, I don't think it can win.
Good information there. Punters, we'll move on. Number 6, Outlaws Revenge, $20.
Look, he's failed there was an 86 benchmark race at Morfettville last start. SP 750. 8 and 9 starts back. He produced a -8 and a -9.
So when we're looking at that data there, that punting form data, is that too far back to take that number into account? 8-9 runs ago.
Yeah, you've got to go a long way back, don't you? Like it has, got beat 4 lengths from Marabi. And then was a Morfettville win at 1. Morfettville won 2 in a row at Morfettville, but that's back. That's back in November, December last year, and it has come back. This preparation, how many trials did it have? Had just like the one barrier trial and has had 5 runs back. Its SP profile terrific. Starting $7 and $7.50 in benchmark 86 races at Morfettville. It did win one of those races, but its benchmark figure was nowhere near good enough for this. Even like winning 2 back at Morfettville, then comes out in the same class and SP $7.50. Yeah. It's just not going good enough.
Yep. Can't win.
Perfect.
Number 7, the Spicer Thoroughbred runner, How Romantic. Eustace Harry Coffee.
Well, look, is
so I think we got the Rubiton Stakes 1100. So track trip up on the screen at the moment.
Yeah, 2 big benchmark figures. This track and trip that was back in February. Which seems a long time ago. Portland Sky, Prophet Dumb, with those 2 races that come out of there.
Yep.
So sort of like as you said, on speed. turned into a bit of a yo-yo since, with its benchmark figures up and down. It's probably got the ability to figure. The issue here will be the map. It's likely going to be wide and back. It's a little bit. It's just hard to see it figuring when you've got some horses that are going better than it, having better maps.
Yep. Makes sense. Yeah. And move on to our second favourite in the market here at 340, just behind Oxley Road. Number 8, Maliva. Stokes runner. Here. Yes.
You can see a Pakenham jump out here for Maliva. Look, it's going to get a nice map, isn't it? It's going to just tuck in behind them.
Yeah.
Look, she went enormous first up. Last preparation, this track and trip. When it won, I think we might have been on her that day. I think we're on it that day.
Yeah, no, I think we were. Yes.
Beat a horse called Bless Her and recorded a negative 12.6. So sort of getting up there. And you have a look at the setup here. Very similar. First up, suited at 1100, going to get a nice run in transit. Look, I don't know whether 370 is a little bit skinny, but again, I think it sort of gets out to sort of mid fours as Oxley Road firms. So like she's definitely going to be a top 3 chance here, and is probably going to sort of be right in the finish.
Nice. Yeah. And moving on to Felicia, number 9, another first up horse.
Yeah, so Jai McNeil goes on here. We can see this run. Where was this run at?
So the one, we've got Caufield, 1,200 metres at Caufield on the screen right now.
Yeah. So pretty handy sort of job.
Yep.
She's first up for 445 days and has 2 big career benchmark figures at this level, but at 12 and 1,600. Settles forward though and gets dry, as I said. So
is the 440 days a worry?
I
mean, there's obviously been issues there with a year and a half out of the scene. Is it always one a bit of a sort of a watch? I mean, are you chiming in at $10?
I've got a couple of rules on that, and chiming in is not one of them. Like 30 days off or more, I want to see a trial or a jump out. And then when you get to this, these 275 days plus, you're sort of anticipating, some problem. So you just want to see a little bit of
you either want to see a bit of market support, or you probably want to see something from it, don't you? It's
one of the things that I look for, particularly. It works in Queensland. I don't know if it works down there, but normally when the prices come up and your horse no trial, the prices come up and you see 10 to 7, someone connected to that stable's taking the $10.
Yeah, absolutely.
But we'll just see. We'll see where the market takes us on that one, and it's only Thursday.
Yep.
So there's no rush.
It is only Thursday, and I'll push it again. Jackson will be out there at Caufield on Saturday, having a look at them parade, and that vital piece of information. Especially a lot of this time of the year, a lot of these horses coming back first up. So even if Jackson doesn't have a bet in the race, sometimes that information is vital for next runs. Needs a run or two, and you can put that information into your black book. So when we're at this time of the year, we're not necessarily watching a race because we've had a bet. We're watching a race to learn something, to try and make some money next week.
Yeah, sure.
We'll move on from Felicia. We've got a couple more. Number 10 in the market, Bless Her.
Yeah, well, I suppose if you're looking for where's Bless Her? She's a blue jacket with the red and
the one in
the
pink sleeves coming up outside the leader here.
Yeah, so she has great stats at the track and trip, Bless Her. Career stats at the track and distance. She's had like 5 goes for 2 wins and 2 minors. She has a big fit. She has her biggest figure of 11.7, went second to Maliva, who we discussed. Bless Her started $6.50 that day versus Maliva, who SP'd $26. So if you're looking to look for a little dose of hopium because you like Bless Her, you can cling onto the SP profile there, maybe. she's going to sort of probably be, well, she's going to be along the rail, isn't she? So, she's going to poke along there the inside, and, she's possibly a top 5 chance.
And we know, and she's probably, people are going to find her off that SP profile, aren't they?
Yeah, sure.
She'll probably be bet just because of that reason.
Yeah. There's no reason to sort of think that she'll, that she'll move too much, away from her current price. She's going to be, in a reasonable spot. Looking for cheap runs and a bit of luck in running, and should be poking through late.
And last but not least, the big Toronado filly, Rainbeal. She's a big beast of a thing, this girl.
Yeah, it's sort of looking at her form and her figure. It seems to have tapered off. She has one decent figure as a negative 10.8 versus Cordilla on this track and trip. That was April last year, though. And as I said, its form seems to have tapered off a little bit since then. And I can't see any reason why you wouldn't be taking $70 on the fair lake about this horse if you wanted to be on it.
Maybe even more, I think. If we've
I'm in a place.
Oh, okay.
No.
If we've spoken about a few in the market that we think are going to firm, when the percentages come down closer to race time, just naturally a few of these ones have to go out. And I don't think you'd be wrong. You probably are going to get that sort of 60, 70 plus on the fair if you fancy her.
I wonder if I should pause the recording, mate. The trainer of Showman's trying to ring me. He must have heard that I've backed it. Maybe he thinks I've knocked his price up or something. Sorry.
Someone did knock the price off Showman. I think it did open $6, $6.50, I think.
Yeah.
I think he's on the show.
Was that you, Shane?
Wasn't me. I've taken unders, and I'll bet again late on Betfair.
Lovely. All right, punters. Well, there's the preview of it, runner-by-runner preview of the Group 3 Sir John Monash Stakes on Saturday at Caufield. As I mentioned, that's all we'll be previewing today. Shane's not betting early up in Queensland. He doesn't want to play that deductions roulette. So if you do want to follow Shane in and follow his bets, you will need to sign up to the Curly product on the mailbag.com.au website. But I think we'll throw a couple of bets out here, Shane, just off everything we've spoken about today in the Sir John Monash. For the punters out there that do fancy an early play, how would you be looking to play this?
Well, look, it'd be wrong of me not to be put my neck on the blocky, because if I do nail it, I doubt that anyone else will be previewing Melbourne going forward. So
could be
just
more,
you and me, mate.
Even more work for you.
Yeah, just you and me.
Yeah.
Oxley Road's the win bet.
Yeah.
Best figure, best horse. The map's perfectly fine.
Yep.
It's just like it's got to start to something. It's got to start to something. It's just better than them.
Yep.
This will kick off his early spring sort of. I don't know what you call it. This will just kick him off. Have a look at the horses he's been racing well against, and we've been on him a couple of times too. When he caught the bad steer here and there, and he probably should have won.
And I think horses, we have found him with the service, haven't we? And I mean, obviously because of that punting form data, and he puts himself in the race, so he is an easy horse to find.
He certainly is, and I think $3 is a great bet. I think he starts substantially shorter, and he's a win bet. If you're looking to play around with some multiples, if I have to tip something to run a place, I suppose, or second and third. Sartorial Splendor looks somewhat value for multiples. I wouldn't back it to beat Oxley Road, but
I think we spoke about Ashford Street. For me and my untrained eye, I just think that price discrepancy there with Ashford Street and Sartorial Splendor is too much.
Yeah, absolutely. Maliva finds itself in the right spot too on the map, doesn't it? And so does Felicia. So
is it one of those ones that you're obviously thinking that Oxley Road shortens, so we have a win bet now, and you think that Maliva gets out? So if you did just want to play the race with a win bet and a saver, would be an Oxley Road now. Wait till Maliva gets out, and you can chop out on Maliva as well. I think
so. Yeah, I think so. I think if you're taking $3 now about Oxley Road, you're going to be in a good position come come race time.
Nice. And you'll be laying Ashford Street, the place. Is that you're putting your neck on the chopping block?
Yeah.
Lovely.
Geez, I've got a bit going on here. I've brought a horse. I'm laying horses a place.
It's all happening today. We're just the two of us on the show. And
yeah, it gives us a chance to talk.
Yeah, exactly. No, look, and I think, for myself, I don't know why you follow me in after my, my best bet last weekend, but just off the punting form data and everything that we've spoken about today, I think Oxley Road's a pretty easy bet to have, and Sartorial Splendor are sort of a 1x3, 1x4 play, and hopefully it can run a hole. And
yeah, it's probably a play as well. Like if you wanted to. When you're ordering ice cream and you sometimes just get a single scoop. Like
does anybody do that?
Well, if you wanted a triple scoop, or the double cone with 2 scoops on each side, so you've got the 4 scoop.
You've got 4 scoops.
Oxley Road a win. Sartorial Splendor a place. Laying Ashford Street win in place. There's your double 4 scooper.
There's your double cone 4 scoop ice cream variety in a betting race.
I don't get any better than that.
I never thought I'd be on a podcast, a YouTube show talking about that, to be honest.
Well, the sport exists to bet on it. So
Absolutely.
What's the point watching it if you're not trying to lick the dripping 4 scoop ice cream?
Absolutely. All right, punters. Well, that's it from us today. As we mentioned earlier, the Mailbag Bloodstock. Get in contact with Jono if you want to purchase any of the horses, or if you just have any questions. But the Umgawa one with Leon and Troy Corstens, who knows when Troy will be back training it. So it'll be up to Leon for a while, I think. Showman. Hopefully the Mailbag Bloodstock, we can get our first winner today. Shane is involved in the ownership. Race 3 out at Cranbourne. There's Showman. A little 1x2 play that Shane's declared can't miss a hole.
Oh, God, give it strength. We've got Akatango running tomorrow as well at Tamworth.
Yes. And we've got Akatango up in Tamworth, who was desperately unlucky last start at the big price.
Yeah, we had a little bit of carry on the night before when we went to the footy. I was crook as a dog Friday, and I was flying home, so I missed the race. I had to watch the replay when I landed. I was that sick. And then I've watched the race, and it just intensified my illness.
Yeah,
it should have at least run a hole.
How it didn't run a hole, and criminal.
So hopefully the rain stays away from Tamworth, and we can go one better. We've got a good, really, really good young jockey who's going to be a star B wheeler on board. So we're drawn well. We're going to get a nice map. So fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. Sounds like we could have 2 winners in 2 days for the Mailbag Bloodstock, all happening. As always, guys, the show today powered by Punting Form. As you've heard Shane sort of talking about all that Punting Form data. If you're not using it, you're doing things wrong. And sign up on the mailbag.com.au. Shane will be betting everywhere that the tracks are open and allow him to. Rob will be up in Sydney with the big wet. Peter obviously doing the Perth stuff from wherever he is in Germany. I think he is at the moment
in Germany,
from the group chat. And Jackson down in Melbourne, giving you that vital information 5-6 minutes before the race. Good luck, Shane. Thanks for today.
Thanks, mate. Always a pleasure joining you. And good luck, punters, over the weekend.
All the best, punters. See ya.